Welcome to Great Day Live, everybody. We are all decked out in our Derby finest today. You know, the big fashion show that kind of kicks off everything for Derby 150 was last night. It's the Kentucky Derby Festival Dillard Spring Fashion Show. All the fun went down at Caesars Southern Indiana Casino. Sold out crowd, so much fun. And if you couldn't make that big event, don't worry. We're going to recap all the top styles from the runway right here in the Great Day Live studio. You know, this show featured more than 130 women's looks, 50 men's looks. We're going to break it all down with our team of fashion experts here today, joined by Scooter Ray from Dillard's and Kirby Adams from the Courier Journal. Great to have you both here.
Hey, thanks for having us.
We're all barely awake,
right.
but we're here with our hats on, our Derby finest. I mean, Dillard's is back again as a sponsor. Scooter, you guys had to be thrilled with the show last night.
Overly thrilled. A lot of the fashions were just different. You know, the decades that were, you know, retrending, the metallics, the oversized bows, just everything was it was a lot of fun, you know, and the energy of the people. I think that's the main thing watching the runway. It just changed and evolved so much because there was so much more interaction.
So much more energy.
And I definitely have to give a lot of credit to Christine Fellingham. I mean, she's been doing it
it was
so
really cool.
long. Yeah.
We were talking about how she can just go in to all these different boutiques and to Dillard's and just go, this will work, this will work.
This one.
It's amazing. And then
so the show was kind of broke down into scenes, right? Kind of into themes and things like that. And so we're going to kind of recap scene by scene here today, which is so fun, which is what Christine did with this first one. This is called History Repeats Itself. And this features styles from a number of different boutiques that were involved in the fashion show. And with this, Kirby, are we seeing kind of a flashback of trends without it looking so dated?
you know, one of the things that I was thinking about as I was watching this is that at the Courier Journal, we have written a book called The 150 Years of the Kentucky Derby through the lens of the Courier Journal. So we went back and we looked at all these decades of photos, and it's so amazing to see how people have shown up and shown out for all these decades. Fashion has always been, you know, as important as the sport at Churchill Downs on Derby weekend.
It is a sport for many of us, right?
Yes. And so to see some of these, the influences, like it wasn't definitely the 60s, or we loved that
bow.
floral.
The floral.
The floor-length floral there with the buttons up. And you can tell us, Scooter, is that more like 70s? We were like, is that 70 or so?
Did you all watch? Were you trying to like name the decade?
We were.
Same.
And I would say, yeah, it is. It's because of the way that it's cut, the sleeves and the length. I believe that just a lot of the color, you know, came from then.
Right.
They were and the shapes, you know, bell bottoms and everything was always oversized and a lot of fun. I also love the different ages that were a part of this as well, because
Me too.
some of those people had lived that.
Yes.
And fashion has evolved so much. At the same time, we still go back to the root of it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So like the flare pants are more like a new age of the bell bottom. I know I keep referencing that, but
it's so cool that right now, now in fashion, there are so many styles that have made this comeback. And we can't even say before, it's like, oh, the 90s are back. A lot of decades are back. That was, it is back right now because it is very much reflected in the boutiques that were on the runway, because these are clothes not from an archive. These are clothes that are in the stores right now. That you can certainly slip into those without looking, you know, like you're going way back. Don't you love that look on the left, with that jacket?
I
love
that.
I knew what you were doing.
Absolutely. And the pink with the ruffle across the top was wonderful. I love that as well.
See the energy of the people.
Fun they had.
Everybody had a great time.
I think that's the one thing that I did pay attention to that I love the most, is that when we all go to Derby, let's be real, we eat and drink, right? So you're gonna have a little bit of bloating. You're not. I mean, honestly, so you have to have movement. I mean, and I love that she picked out clothing, because we're not
what I really
walking
noticed
on a runway.
With so much of the styles, it wasn't so constrained as we look back,
At
right?
all.
Lots of flowy, while even with some of the dresses, the cuts were very forgiving. And I love, like, even with the shorter dresses, it's forgiving, it flows out.
Very
with
much.
the dress on the right, I love that tomato red.
Yes.
I'm in love with that.
Which is going to be big, right?
Yeah,
Red will be big at the 150.
Absolutely, to
Run for the
commemorate
Roses.
the 150 Run for the Roses. So
That's
this was just
the
so much a retrospective, but Kirby, just with the book that you're putting together in the look back of photographs, did you look at the photographs and then see some of the styles reflected on the runway and you're like, oh my goodness, this is so cool to see it in modern day times?
Absolutely, because you can see little influences. It's not clearly the same thing, but like I call it the Poochie print, but just
Yes.
and
yeah.
and we
Yeah.
were seeing a lot of that in old black and white photographs. So we
Yeah.
didn't see the colors, but just to see how women and men have always dressed at their very best for the Kentucky Derby was
Absolutely.
so interesting to see through the decades like that.
Absolutely.
But, and then see that giant flower on the front
Yeah.
there. I love that too.
I saw,
There was a whole
sorry.
segment dedicated we're going to get into later,
Yeah.
just of those big iconic moments. There's just lots of big things that stand out, those statement pieces we saw in so many places on the runway without it being overbearing, right? Like it was
Right.
like, oh, that was well done.
Yeah.
That was really, really subtle. Kirby, you had to be taking like notes a mile a minute out there in the audience last night. Like, look at it, everything.
Absolutely,
Wait a
we were
minute, wait
taking
a minute.
notes a mile a minute because I had
Right.
to write a story about
Uh-huh.
it for the Courier Journal
This morning.
Then it's in this morning. But one of the things I saw there too, which I think anyone who goes to the Derby knows. Well, you might not have to worry so much about stilettos, but that's always
Scooters
kind of
like I sell a lot.
Oh, right. Hey, there you go.
I sure do.
But I
Right.
like the big chunky heels
I
that
do
we
too.
saw and the
I really do
platforms
too.
because it comes down to being comfortable, as we said, at the track, because you're there for a very, very long time.
Right.
And if your feet aren't happy, then you're not happy.
People always say, what's the one thing I should not wear to Derby? When I have a first-time visitor asking me that question, so I'm like, don't be wearing your heels. They better
Yeah,
be a block
comfort.
or a wedge,
Yeah.
please. Or
Absolutely.
cute tennis shoes or something like that. And I know at Dillard scooters, so many of these styles are reflected too. You've got all the decades there this year. You've got everything from Derby out front, kind of ready to go, a nice reflective look from this runway.
Yeah, we have a lot of it showcased, and I think one of the fun parts, being visual there and working also with Erica and Robin, one of the coolest things is that we're able to showcase spots in different areas of the store. So if you're either small, you're larger, like we have so many options for so many different people, and you're able to see how somebody puts it together, because sometimes somebody loves a statement piece, but they don't know exactly how to style it together.
Yep.
So, we're able to come in, create that lookbook for that person, and then move on from there.